you all are doing good. So let's start solving today's problem. So today's problem is about string subsequence. Now let's see how to solve this problem. So here the problem has simply asked us to find the number of subsequence of string s1 equals to s2. Now what does that mean? This means that I need to find out the number of times this string s2 is occurring in this string s1. So the I will need to count the number of times this string is appearing in this particular string. So in that case, I will return this count as my output. So now let's see how can we count those occurrences. So this is my string s2. Now I need to find out how many times this string is appearing in this string. So let's see. Can I pick up this string from this string? Yes, let's see how. I will first pick up this G. I will first pick up this G. Now find out K. I will pick up this K now. Now I will pick up this S. So let's pick up this S. So from here, I have got one subsequence. From here, I have got one subsequence. Now can I get another such subsequence? Can I get another occurrence of this string? Let's see. So can I write this GKS in this way? G is here appearing first, K is appearing the second time, and S is appearing the next time. So I can write this GKS in this way. So in this way, I am getting this as my second subsequence. Now let's see what is the next possibility. So can I write this GKS in this way? I will first take this G, then I will take this K, and at last I will take this S. So can I write this string? Can I pick up this string in this way? So this is forming another subsequence. So in this way, I am getting three subsequence still here. Now let's see whether we can find out any more such subsequences or not. So let's find out. Can I write this GKS string in this way? I will first pick this G, then I will pick this K, then I will pick this S. Can I pick this GKS in this way from this string? Yes, I can. So in this way, I am getting from this particular string, I am getting four subsequence. So this is what my output is. Now let's see how to implement this code. S1, this is my string S2. It is G, K, S. Now what I will do, I will use recursion first. So to implement recursion, what I will do, I will use I pointer which is initialized to the last character of the string S1, and I will use a J pointer which will get initialized to the last pointer of string S2. Now what I will do, I will check whether the character of this string and the character of this string is matching or not. If matching, then what I will do, I will move this I one step backward, then it comes to this, and I will move my J one step backward, then it will point to K, and call the function recursively. So if I do this, what does this becomes? This becomes I am moving my I backward. That means I am doing I minus 1. So here I am doing I minus 1, and I am here also doing the same thing. That is I am moving my J towards backward. When I am doing this, when my characters are matching. So I'm doing here J minus 1. And when is this done? When my S1I is S1I is equals to S2J. So this happens when this condition satisfies. Okay, so now this is one situation. Now from here you can see that my S, I was getting a subsequence when my S was here, and I'm also getting a subsequence when my S is here, here, and here. So I'm getting a subsequence when my S was here, and I'm getting another subsequence when my S was here. So in that case, what I will do, I need to search for this particular S also. So in that case, my J, I will take another situation. My J will be pointing to the same place. And what I will do, I will search for this particular S. So in that case, I will move this I pointer backward. I will move this I pointer backward and search for S. So the moment this S and this S is matching, so if this condition applies, then what I will do, I will count the ways. That is what I am doing here. I am moving my I pointer backward. I am moving my I pointer backward to get this S here, and I am matching my last character. I am matching with this S. I am matching with this S. So I am not moving my J anywhere. I am just moving my I. So here what I am doing, I will move my I backward and my J will remain as it was. So I'm doing a summation. Why? Because I'm counting here. So I'm doing the summation here. Now I will return this. So this will return when my s1I is equals to the element, the character at index j. Now there can also be a case when the two characters does not match. What happens when this s and this e does not match? What happens when my I is pointing to here and my j is still pointing to s? When my I is pointing to g and my j is still pointing to s? So in that case, this was my if part. Now coming to the else part, when the characters are not matching, what I will do? I will simply call a recursive function. In this case, I am moving my I forward. I am moving my I forward. So I was moving forward and my j was in the place where it was earlier. Okay. So this was the case when my characters are matching. So this is how you will count. And this is what happens when the characters are not matching. Now what? Now in this way, I can get the subsequence. Let's see what are the base cases. So it's a recursion. So this will definitely have a base case. So let's see what are the base cases. So there will be a point when my this j is here, which means my j is pointing to index less than 0. What does that mean? That means this particular string has been traversed. Now my j is pointing to -1. So there will be a case when my j will be pointing to less than 0, when my j will be pointing to -1. If that's the case, what does that mean? This means that there are no characters left in this string to be traversed. Then that means I have matched all the characters of this string with this string. So in that case, what I will do, I will simply return a 1. So I have got one base case, that is if my j becomes less than -1, less than 0. In that case, what I'm doing, I will simply return a 1. That means I have matched all the characters and there are no characters left in this string. That's why my j is pointing here. Now, what is the next base case? So my j was pointing to -1 here. In a similar way, can I say that there can be a point when my I will also point to -1? There can be a point when my I will point to -1. Now, what does that mean? That means I have traversed this whole particular string, and in that case, that means I have not got any subsequence from this string. I haven't got any particular string s2 which is occurring in this s1. That's why my I is now pointing to -1. So if my I is -1, that is if my I is less than 0, I will return a 0. What does that mean? This means if my I is less than 0, I will return a 0, which means that the characters of both the strings are not matched and the ith pointer at this point becomes -1, which means that I haven't got any subsequence of this particular string in this string. That's why I'm returning a 0. Let's implement the code. Now this was the recursion part. Now let's implement the code using dynamic programming. So let's first take the size of the two strings. To implement this dynamic programming, what I will do, I will simply shift both the indexes by 1 to the right hand side. Why? Because here you can see that at a point my j is becoming less than 0 and my I is becoming less than 0. In that case, I was returning 1 and I was returning 0. So I need to cover up all these base cases also. So I know that in DPRE I can never have a negative index, but here there is a negative index. So to make it positive, what I'm doing, I am just shifting the indexes, both the indexes by 1. Okay. Now let's declare a DPRE. Okay. So this is my DPRE. Now what? Here you can see that the moment my j was 0, I was returning a 1. So let's do the same thing here. The moment my DPI, the moment my j is 0, I will return a 1. Similarly, the moment my I is 0, I will return a 0. But here, since I have initialized the whole DP with 0, so I'm not writing this line of code again. Okay, so now let's proceed forward. Let's initialize the two pointers. Now what? So this was the base case. Now we will look for this condition. Since I have shifted the indexes by 1 to the right hand side, that means this index will also change. So here I am checking S1, the character at index I and the character at index j. But in DP, what I will do, I will check if my character at index I minus 1 equals to j minus 1. What I will do? I will simply perform this operation. So let's perform. At first, if the two characters are matching, what I was doing, I was simply moving backwards. I was moving backwards. I was moving this pointer also backward. I was moving this pointer backward. And if there are more subsequence, when there was one more s, what I was doing, I was simply doing I minus 1 and the j was as it was earlier. So let's do the same thing here. My j will remain the same. Now, this was the case when my two characters were matching. What if it does not match? If it does not match, what we were doing? We were doing this particular thing. So here also, we will do the same thing, I minus 1 j. Now what? At last, my answer will be stored at the last index. So return dp n comma m. So this is where my answer will be stored at n and m. So let's return this. Let's compile and run. So I'm getting correct output. Now let's submit. Okay. So, okay. So I've instructed here to take the modulo. So let's take the modulo. Int mod equals to 1e9 plus 7. Here also I'll do the same thing. Mod. Hopefully now I'll get the correct answer. Let's compile and run. Okay, now let's see. Let's submit. Okay. So the problem has been solved successfully. So do subscribe the channel to get more such coins popping up on your screen. So the current streak is now 3 days. So I will be maintaining the streak from now on. So if you want to do the same and conquer DSA with me, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like and share this with your friends. Thanks a lot for watching. I will see you guys again tomorrow.